Hi class, today we're going to learn about enzymes. So as we're going through the PowerPoint, pay close attention to key details, and then after the PowerPoint you're going to write a one-paragraph summary explaining what you learned. Please be as detailed as possible, and again these are about enzymes. Okay, so tomorrow when I get back you'll do a cracker activity to see the effect of enzymes. We'll go ahead and wait on that activity until I get back. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is that enzymes are proteins. And if you remember when we were learning about proteins, one of the things proteins do is they control the reactions that go inside of our body. And the particular protein that does this are enzymes. So this is very important to remember. Enzymes are proteins. They're just a type of protein. Okay, so why do we need enzymes? Well, first of all, they build molecules, and we call this synthesizing. So they make or build molecules inside of us. If you look at these two shapes here, it shows you that it connected them together. So enzymes can connect or build molecules. Enzymes also break down molecules. So, for example, when you eat food, you have little enzymes inside of you that help to break it down and speed up the process of breaking it down. So it's showing here two molecules put together, enzymes act upon them and break them apart. So for example, if you were to eat a hamburger at lunch and you didn't have enzymes, that hamburger could stay in your stomach for months without enzymes. With enzymes, you can digest it in a day. Okay? They are also a catalyst, which means they speed up reactions. So just like I told you, if you had that hamburger and you did not have enzymes, it would sit there for a long, long time. But enzymes speed up the process of digestion, and they help you break that food down a lot quicker. So that's what catalyst means. It breaks them up faster. Because they do this, they also lower the amount of energy needed to do this. And when you require less energy, you're going to do something a lot faster, and it's going to be a lot easier to do. Enzymes are very specific. There's a certain enzyme to break down every single thing inside of your body. So there's a particular enzyme to break down fat. So fat, which is also known as lipid, can only be broken down by an enzyme called lipase. And this is the only enzyme that will break down fat. Only that one. It's very specific. In milk, there's a sugar called lactose. And there's only one type of enzyme in your body that can break that sugar down. And that enzyme is called lactase. There's a sugar called glucose. Okay, common sugar in the foods that you eat. And there's only one type of sugar, or excuse me, enzyme that will break down that sugar. And that is glucose. Okay, and if you notice, all of the enzymes end in ASE, and they're named after the thing that they break down, okay, or that they react with. So they're very picky, and that's because every enzyme has a shape, and it has to match the shape of the object it's going to act upon. Okay, so it's kind of like a lock and key. Think about it. There's many different locks and many different keys. All of you guys have a house key. But is your house key going to open the door of your friends or of your neighbor? No, it's very specific. So enzymes are very specific. They can only fit into certain molecules, and they can only react with certain molecules. And we're going to do an activity on that tomorrow to show you that. Okay, so think of it like a lock and key. Or you can think of it like a childhood toy, right? Square can only fit into the square hole. The star can only fit in the star hole. Circle can only fit in the circle hole. So just like enzymes, they have to match in order to react. Okay, and again tomorrow we'll see how they are specific. This shows you a real-life example of enzymes. So this big purple thing here is an enzyme, and notice that it has a particular shape. And then this here is sucrose. It's a type of sugar. And so if you were to eat this sugar in food, you need to break it down to digest it. But notice how this shape matches the shape of these enzymes. So it'll match up, and because it matches up, the enzyme will cause a reaction and break apart that sugar. See how the sugar is now broken as compared to here where it was connected? Now it's broken up. And so the enzyme did that. It broke down that molecule of sucrose. And again, that was because the shapes matched. Remember, enzymes are very specific, so they matched. Okay, so this shows you the steps of how an enzyme reacts with something. Okay, there's some words that you need to know. Obviously, enzyme. You need to know what a substrate is. That is whatever the enzyme is going to work upon. So if you're breaking down sugar, sugar would be the substrate because an enzyme is going to act with the sugar. If you're breaking down fat in your body, then the fat would be the substrate because that's what the enzyme is going to work on. So again, if you look at the picture, here's an enzyme, and this is whatever it's going to break apart or build, okay, the substrate. And it all happens at the active site, the little hole or groove on the enzyme. Okay, so when the substrate binds with the enzyme, we call that the enzyme substrate complex because they're added together. They're temporarily connected. And again, active site is just a part of the enzyme where the substrate will fit into it. So it's a little groove or opening on the enzyme. Okay, so again, if we were to look at this picture, this is the substrate, this purple thing is the enzyme, this opening here is called the active site, and when the substrate joins to the enzyme, we call that the enzyme substrate complex when they become joined together. Okay, enzymes can act and be used over and over and over again. So think about it. When you put your key into a lock, does it change your key? No. Your key is the same, and you can use it every day that you go home. You can keep using it. Well, that's the same thing with enzymes. Once an enzyme breaks something down in your body, it'll go find something else to break down. So if you have a fat molecule in your body that needs to be broken down, it'll break it down and then go find another fat molecule and then another fat molecule and keep going over and over and over again. Now sometimes enzymes won't work as well as they should because there's certain things that can affect how well they work. Oh, there's the bell. Okay, so one of them is temperature. So if it's too hot or too cold outside, you're going to mess up the enzymes. They're not going to work as well. And we're going to do a lab to demonstrate that later. pH, meaning if there's an acid put on the enzyme or too much base, then the enzyme isn't going to work as well. And then the number of enzymes. If there are too few enzymes, they're not going to work as well. Whereas if there are a lot of enzymes, it's going to happen a lot quicker. So again, we'll do a lab later this week to demonstrate how those three things can affect how an enzyme works. Okay, and we'll go ahead and do this part tomorrow, so don't worry about this. Okay, go ahead and write a paragraph summary about what you learned about enzymes. Make sure you have an introductory sentence, 3 facts, and a closing sentence. And then you'll turn it in when you're done.